fake news whenever they give you bad reporting. It's like, all right, bro, all right, whatever.
When you look at CNN, the New York Times, ABC fake news, NBC fake news, when you look at this stuff, it's so sad to see it. I mean, they report things that they know are false. It's almost treasonous, actually, if you want to really know the truth. It's almost treasonous. But if you're reading the New York Times exclusively, and their circulation, by the way, is way down.
Yeah.
It's way down. I'm proud to report that. But if you're reading the New York Times exclusively, you would say that they are doing great in the war.
Mr. President,
they're doing terribly.
I want to ask you about that.
The only thing they have is the ability to say, well, we may have some minds. And, if you have a ship, who wants to take a chance? You're not going to take a chance.
Mr. President, I want to ask you about that because you put out a tweet and it really gripped the nation a week ago when we were all waiting and watching for the United States' next move should the Iranians not open the Strait of Hormuz.
Hey, somebody did ask a good question in the chat, though. Somebody said, what, from now on, you're telling me that only drones and missiles matter? And actually, yes. Actually, drones have changed the entire, way we do warfare. Like, if you haven't been looking at Ukraine and Russia, everybody's been saying, yo, these drones are a game changer. They're almost making aircrafts obsolete at a certain point. And we spent this whole time building up our aircrafts and ships and all this good stuff when we probably should have been focusing on those drones, to be honest. So actually, yeah, they are pretty important, and they are changing the way we do battle now. It's going to be through these hypersonic missiles and high-tech drones that might be able to start flying these missiles, most likely. Well, probably doing it now, actually. They're doing it now.
And you wrote this on Truth Social: a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have a complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something wonderful can happen. Mr. President, you were criticized for this tweet because you said a whole civilization will die tonight. What do you want to say about that? And what can you tell us about next steps here? Are you planning further destruction?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. That statement brought them to the table, with the exception of the one thing, which I believe that they're going to give up.
See, the problem with this statement is that this is like the first time an American president just made a completely genocidal statement. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. It's like, yo, bro, like that. I mean, I'm glad he didn't do it. Maybe that did actually get them to come to the table. But they're right. It is a genocidal statement. Like, if we were to carry that out, they would pretty much say we were committing genocide because you made that statement. Remember, you already let them know the intent is to destroy an entire civilization. And if we was to commit to that, well, you said the intent was to destroy the entire civilization, aka genocide. Boy, I'm glad he didn't do that, though.
I believe they're going to give up on that pretty soon, to be honest, because it's not going to work. We actually thought we had them, and then all of a sudden they said, no, we want. So, but I believe, no. And when I say that, but remember, what have they said to us? For years, I've had to listen to them say, death to America, right? They say death to America, death to Israel, America, the state.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, though. If you get mad at that, then you just don't know history, and you actually never really heard from the Iranian people. Because one, when they say death to America, they're talking about our government that constantly interferes in the Middle East and has brought nothing but destruction and mayhem to their country. And if you don't believe me, I mean Operation Ajax. If you don't know what Operation Ajax is, it's a CIA-led operation to where just because they voted in a president that wanted to give them a better deal on their oil, we're talking about Iran, by the way, a president who they voted in a president who wanted to give them a better deal on their oil. And because we didn't want to let them have a better deal on their oil, we popped off Operation Ajax, got him in there, put in the Shah, who's, well, the whole king that they're axing, that you guys claim they're axing back for, but that lets me know you guys don't know history, because the Shah was an authoritarian. The Shah has secret police. The Shah was also cracking down on the Iranian people as well until they and selling out their resources to the U.S. Like, bro. So they actually rose up against the Shah that we put in, by the way, that we interfered in their politics after they voted for somebody else. We said, F what they talk about. We put in our own guy. And you don't think that's going to breed any type of hatred for us? But all right, if that's not enough for you, do you know that we actually funded Saddam, gave that man the green light into attacking Iran. Yes, in the Iran-Iraq war, yeah, we were helping them out with we was helping Saddam out with the Gulf states, of course. They pitched in to take out Iran. The CIA helped Saddam get gas weapons to gas the Iranians. And they know that we did this. You don't think you thought they forgot? And you wonder why they yelled death to America. Well, now you know. Because a lot of y'all people don't know because you don't know history. Well, guess what? I just filled it in for you. And if that was you and a government did that to you, how would you feel towards that government? And be real now. Be real about it. Don't sit there and act like a bitch now. Don't bitch down now.
We will destroy America. Death to America. Now, does anybody ever complain to you when they say that? I think that's a big step worse. Death to America. So they're allowed to say death to America. And what I'm referring to is, when I talk about civilization, it'll be much different because their military will be totally gone. It's pretty much gone now. But their military, look at their leadership. We have had regime change because the people we dealt with yesterday were, frankly, very smart, very sharp, very good, very good. I think they were smarter than the people from before, Khomeini and that group. Because look what it got them. Look what all of their antics was spending trillions they spent all their money on weapons. We've destroyed most of those weapons. Mm-hmm. But when I say about a civilization, it really has changed. It really has. But think of it. They're allowed to say death to America, death to this, death to... And I make one statement, they say, oh, such a big deal. Let me tell
you, after the history I just described, with the fact that this man just threatened to end their entire civilization, I mean, what do you expect these people to think of us? Like, I really want y'all to use y'all common sense. After the history I just explained, what do you think? What do you think they're going to think about us, guys? Like, are you serious?
Hey, that statement got them to the bargaining table, and they haven't left. They haven't left the bargaining table. I predict
they walked
come
away.
Back
yes,
and
they
give
did.
Us everything we want.
Iran released a statement, said they're ready to resume fighting. It's like, yeah, they walked away. We gave them our Maximus demands. They looked us in our eye and said, we're good. Like, we got enough cars to walk away from this deal, and they did so. So I'm sorry, Trump, but what you're saying does not match reality. And I wish it did. I really wish it did, but it don't.
And I told my people, I want everything. I don't want 90%. I don't want 95%. I told them I want everything.
Well, and what they
have
want...
no cards, Maria.
Yep.
They have no cards. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Totally gone. Mm-hmm. They have nothing. They have no ships. 158 ships are at the bottom of the sea. Good ones. Good ones. New. The Soleimani, they had one called the Soleimani, was taken out by one of our Tigers.
Even she's lost. She's like, look, you could sit here. I'm telling you, I know she's lost because anybody who's listening to this man right now is like, bro, you're saying all this Navy and Air Force stuff, but if that's such a big deal, then why did they walk away from a ceasefire that you told us that they were begging for? Like, you got to explain that. You can't keep talking around it. Stop treating the American people like they're stupid, like they got TikTok brain or something. We remember what the F you guys were telling us. And now it's not matching up with reality. You want to go over the old talking points like, well, we destroyed their Navy, we destroyed their Air Force. Yeah, from the 60s and 70s, bro. That's not a big deal, to be honest with you. They're exerting their force through missiles and drones.
Sharks by one of our rapidly moving submarines. It's amazing. Our military is so good. You know, our military is a 94% approval rating now.
Well,
Congress has a 14%. The media has a 12%. When I started, the media had a 92% approval rating. Now they're down to 14%.
Wow.
And I'm very proud of it because they're very dishonest.
Mr. President, I see what just took place in terms of our NATO allies pushing back and not supporting you and the United States. And I see what has happened with our Gulf allies in the Middle East who do not want a bully in the Middle East any longer. Are you expecting those Gulf allies to help you in this blockade in the Strait of Hormuz?
Oh, yeah.
What other countries are going to join?
I'm be real with you. They're talking big, but it wouldn't be in their best interest. It really wouldn't be. I mean, look, man, you got to understand when it comes to Iran, they're kind of working a bit unfairly here. Let's go back to the map here, right? Because you look, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE over here. Let me just go ahead and close up a little bit more on them. Yeah, the problem with this is that, look, One, you got Yemen over here. These guys over here in Yemen, this is where the Houthis are. They can start attacking Oman, start attacking Omanian ports, and they have a semi-hypersonic missile called the Palestine 2. I know, right? The crazy name. But yes, they can also strike into Saudi Arabia because they're right there. And they've actually attacked Saudi Arabia's energy infrastructure before and got it off. They can also start attacking Qatar as well. So I don't think that'd be in their best interest to pop off because Iran's right here that can attack them. Yemen's right here that can attack them. And all the way over here in Lebanon and Israel, I'm gonna be real with you, they don't really got to worry about the whatchamacallit. They don't got to worry about the Hezbollah. Well, because they're kind of in a war with Israel, in a ground war as well. So we'll see how that works out for them. But no, they're going to get sandwiched between the Houthis in Yemen and Iran. And I don't think they want that. I'm pretty sure they're drawing out the battle plan and they're going like, yeah, I don't think we want those problems. I mean, they could try, they can commit to it, but they better not be surprised when missiles start coming out of Yemen. That's all I'm saying. It's best they just stay there.
So the Gulf states, now you could say they're much closer, so maybe they have to do it, but they also could stay out. But they made a mistake when they started lobbing missiles at them. And here's the good thing: the Gulf states, they are rich and they have a lot of Patriots. Our Patriot missile, which is an anti-missile missile, and it's unbelievable. They fired at us one day at a certain asset that we have, namely the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, one of the beauties of the world, one of the great beauties of the world. They fired 101 missiles out of 100. These things are going more than 2,000 miles an hour. And out of 101 missiles, 101 were shot down like nothing and are now at the bottom of the sea, the remnants of them. Think of it, 101 missiles shot in a short period of time. All 101 were knocked out. So we have the greatest military equipment. We have the greatest people. We have the strongest military in the world by far, and everybody sees it, whether it's Venezuela or what we've done with Iran. And when I read, the fake news talking about how well Iran's doing, they're not doing well at all. They're getting killed. I could take out Iran in one day. I could take down in 1 hour. I could have their entire energy, everything, every one of their plants, their electric generating plants, which is a big deal.
Yeah, I know. And we know that. We know we can do that. But here's a problem. If you do that, Iran's going to destroy all the energy infrastructure and water desalination centers in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and Oman, and Israel. And they're not going to give two fucks about it. They'll throw the entire Middle East into turmoil. Now people won't have running water, people will not have energy, and I mean people will go most likely going to start starving and fighting over food and water. And there's going to be complete turmoil in the Middle East if you do that. So trust me, it's not going to come without the complete destruction of the Middle East. You think they're just going to sit there and let us do that? I mean, we can get away with it. We can do it, guys. But when they take out everything in the Middle East, we can't sit there and complain like they didn't warn us. And that's just the scary reality of what Trump is saying, because it's like, if you commit to this, they're going to start destroying all water and energy infrastructure throughout the entire Middle East indiscriminately. They're not picking favorites.
I hate to do it because if I do it, it takes you 10 years to rebuild. They'll never be able to rebuild it. And the other thing you take out are the bridges. I took out one just to show them because they went public with a statement that wasn't true. They admitted it. I say, I'm going to take out a bridge. And I took out a bridge. And that was the end of that. Now they've been really behaving quite well. But in 1/2 of a day, they wouldn't have one bridge standing. They wouldn't have one electric generating plant standing. And they're back in the Stone Ages. I'd rather not do that. But I do believe they're going to come to the table on this because nobody can be so stupid as to say that we want to have nuclear weapons and they have no cards. They have no cards whatsoever.
So if they do not give up that effort, is that the plan? Will you further destruct Iran?
Yeah, I will. If they don't give that plan up, yeah. I'm not in huge hurry. What we want to do is we'll open up the strait. But the ships are coming up to the United States.
Let's talk about that.
I've been inviting everybody. It's pretty good.
Let's talk about that, Mr. President, because you referred to a post that hundreds of super tankers are headed to the Gulf of America to buy oil and gas from the U.S. What can you tell us about that, sir?
Well, I can tell you that it used to be called the Gulf of Mexico. That's what I can tell you. Now it's called the Gulf of America because of me. One of my little things that I did, one of my little sidelines. And it's a great honor. People are so happy. You go to Louisiana, you go to Florida, you go to these states, Texas. They're so honored by it. I used to say, why is that the Gulf of Mexico when we have 93% of the frontage? And, it fronts 93% of the United States.
Because that's the closest place to where they can get their oil without spending high gas prices to go get it from America. This is why what he's saying is low-key dumb and is not going to help out with gas price. If anything, it's going to make gas more expensive because now these guys got to spend more to go get their gas, and our gas is more expensive, by the way. So this is not helping them whatsoever. I mean, sure, they got to get gas, but they're not buying it cheaper. So trust me, we're not adding to the world supply of gas, guys. Gas is still going to maintain the same price, sadly. It might still be going up. So when people sit there in front of you and try to tell you like, oh, this is a good thing. No, it's not really, guys. It's probably best we get things back to normal because that's not going to help us out. And not all countries have the capability to spend that transit fee to go all the way over to America to pick up oil. They really don't. And like I said, they're buying it for a higher price.
I said, I think I'm going to change it to the Gulf of America. What a beautiful name. And I did. And I give a lot of credit to Google because once I filed the papers, I did it. And Google Map, once Google Map changed, did it, it was a done deal. But we had lawsuits, we won everything. And it's now the Gulf of America, which I'm very honored by.
But do you expect super tankers?
I must tell you, I was thinking about calling it the Gulf of Trump, and I decided not to do it. I think maybe it was a wise. I think that one maybe wouldn't have worked out. I'm not so sure. You'll have to tell me. But I was thinking about it's going to be called the Gulf of Trump. And then I said, that's not going to play too well.
I think you're.
I'm kidding.
You're being facetious. I know that, Mr. President. But what about
tomorrow?
Oil exporters? Tell me about this, because do you expect super tankers, empty super tankers, to go to the Gulf of America, to go to Louisiana, go to Texas?
Well, they're already.
I mean, let me just show you what Trump is pretty much asking. Like I said, it's just ridiculous because it's like, bro, the distance is crazy. That distance is crazy, G. Like, what you're talking about? Wildin'. Let me go ahead and put this up on the main screen for you guys so you guys can pretty much see what I'm seeing. The man is literally asking, instead of just getting their oil through the Strait of Hormuz and getting it, getting their situation done, getting their energy infrastructure situated, they want them to say, F that, guys, don't worry about that. India, China, the rest of you guys just go all the way down here to Africa, to Southern Africa. Yep, all the way down here, and then go all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, all the way and then into the Gulf of America, formerly known as the Gulf of Mexico, to come here and get that oil. Do you see the distance? That is a crazy distance right there. So not only you're just pretty much saying, nah, F all that. You no longer just get it out this nice little pocket here. We want you to go all the way down to Southern Africa and then go all the way up through the Atlantic to get over here to America. And that's going to save y'all some money. Well, that's the best option. Really? Really, guys? Is that what you're going to try to sell us? Some of y'all going to believe it, too. That's going to be the worst part about it.
Retard alert.
But yes, this is what's being proposed. And this is why I laugh at people who sit there and think it's a good idea. I'm sorry. Every time I think about it, I laugh.
Pretty beautiful thing to see. The boats are sailing up and heading out to our country. Big, beautiful tankers, and we're loading them up with oil and gas and everything else. And pretty beautiful.
And considering the fact that, what was it? How many ships go through the Strait of Hormuz on the regular? 300, 400, 500, and only 121 oil tankers? Is that's not helping nobody. That's not helping nobody. I'm sorry, but he's trying to put a Band-Aid on a gash for some reason. But all right, as my fellow MAGA guys like to say, just let them cook. All right, I don't like what's coming out the kitchen. I do not like the smell that's coming out the kitchen, but I'll let them cook, as y'all say.
Coming. Well, Texas, they're going to go to Texas. They're going to go all along our shoreline. We have We have the biggest ports, and they're going to go. Remember this, and this is pretty amazing. And this is my time that when I came into office, we were third and fourth in energy and in doing exactly this, the oil and gas and other things. Now we're bigger.
So guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's go ahead and get up to all right, let's get up to 200 likes. We got 180, or not 184, but 134. So let's double tap that screen and like the video, and let's get up to 200 likes, guys. We got about 700 y'all in here. Appreciate the support.
Than Saudi Arabia, think of this, and we're bigger than Saudi Arabia. Add Saudi Arabia with Russia, and add another country in there, whichever one you want. We're bigger than all of them combined. Think of that. That's all because of Trump. And when Biden inherited,
yeah, but all of our oil that we have cannot replace the global supply of oil that's missing right now. No, I'm sorry, we can't do that.
That system, he changed it. Then he tried going back to it because the oil was going up. You know, you remember it was going up $7, $8, etc. But look at even now, we have to get rid of this nuclear threat, and people in our country have oil. People in other countries are getting hurt. One of the things that most amazes me, though, the Strait is for Japan, where they get 93% of their oil. You know that, Japan. South Korea gets 45% of its oil. These people haven't helped us. I say, are you guys going to help? And, you know, we have 45,000 soldiers and 50,000, respectively, at those two places. 45 and 50,000 soldiers. We guard them and protect them. And when we want a little help, they don't help us. And when we wanted help from NATO, they don't help us. And we paid, I don't know if you saw, almost $1 trillion toward NATO in a very short period of time to protect them against Russia, mostly.
Yeah.
And then when we're there, and, you know, Biden, I wouldn't have done this. You wouldn't have had the Ukraine problem. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. But under Biden, who was an incompetent president, he was grossly incompetent. Look, the election was rigged. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that now. And it's all come out, and it's coming out. But under Biden, if you take a look at what happened, when he was president, that's a war that would have never happened. Russia attacking Ukraine.
Yep.
And I ended 8 wars, including Pakistan. You know, Pakistan was...
Yeah, I know. You were supposed to be the peace president, but then instead, but for some reason you hopped into this war with Iran that you think you can treat them like Venezuela, and now we're seeing that's far from the case. Now you got to put out all the propaganda in the world to, well, I guess not make this look like that is for the bad idea that it really is, because this was a bad idea. Getting into this conflict with Iran was a bad idea. It'd have been better if we'd have got them into a stricter version of the JCPOA, and we wouldn't be here. Trump would still be gaining on economic success, and the libs wouldn't, well, honestly, be vindicated at this point.
It was great yesterday. They were the ones that really facilitated the meeting.
Right.
But they thanked it. Every time I see them, they thank me. They say, we're going to have a war with India. And as the prime minister said very openly to everybody. But
here's the thing. They're not all the way vindicated, because the problem with the libs is, I mean, they're crying about this war, and I get it. Trust me, I didn't want war either. I'm anti-war, but I was anti-war even on the lib side. You guys want war with Russia. You want war with an actual superpower. You guys were literally ready to go to war with Russia. Anybody that was telling y'all no, y'all was calling a Russian stooge. So please spare us. If we were with Kamala, we'd probably be in war with Russia directly at this point. So I'm sorry, but like I said, one of the main reasons I didn't even vote for the Democrats in the last election was because they was pushing towards war with Russia. And I'm sorry, but if I knew Trump was going to war with Iran and you just told me to take a pick, I think I'd go to war with a country that's not a nuclear power. But I don't know, for some reason the Dems wanted war with a nuclear power. So let's not pretend that any side was any better. What kills us over here on the right, on MAGA right now, is that we voted for no new wars. For some reason, this new war popped off. And what's pissing me off even more is how there's guys in my camp that's sitting there acting like he never said that. Like I said, it's like they forgot what they stood for, and now it's about who they stand for. Who they stand for is Trump, and not American values, not what they voted for, which were no new wars, a better economy, and all this good stuff. And it's kind of seemed like they walked that all back just to support Trump, no matter what he does. And I mean, I ain't vote for that. I voted for a better America, not America ran by Trump, for Trump, by Trump, and always will be loyal to Trump. I did not vote for that.
In 30 to 50 million people would have been killed. and I got it ended. I said, if you guys are going to have a war, we're not going to do any trading with you.
Well,
And believe it or not, I got it ended because of tariffs,
Mr.
which
President,
the Supreme Court was not nice to me about.
is this all going to be enough? The blockade in the Strait, the opening up capacity in the United States is this going to be enough to lower the price of oil and gas, sir?
Well, it's going to be.
I mean, so it's people said I voted for this. You know how retarded you sound? So you voted to get what? Higher gas prices? Like, really? You voted for a worse job market? Because this is what this war is doing. Inflation's going up along with gas prices. The job market is not doing so well anymore. The Dow is no longer at 50,000, as Pam Bondi likes to say. So you pretty much voted to walk back progress? Like, is that really what you're saying? Like I said, man, some of y'all are just... I mean, some of y'all really drunk the Kool-Aid. I mean, you took the full picture, you drunk it, and you ain't leave no more Kool-Aid for anybody else. That's how lost you are.
Eventually, it's going to be lowered. No, it might not happen initially, but it's going to go down. When this is all over, look, the stock market, the Dow hit 50,000. It was supposed to be in 4 or 5 years. They said it won't happen during his term, but it'll be maybe 4 or 5 years. It hit 50,000 in my first year. You know it better than anybody. You cover it better than anybody.
Not anymore.
The S&P hit 7,000 in my first year. Before my first year, you know that. And I said to myself, "Oh, here we go. I got to stop this country from having a nuclear weapon. You want to see a stock market go down? Let a couple of nuclear bombs be dropped on us, or frankly, any place else, and you'll see a stock market that goes down." So the stock market has not gone down very much at all. Gone down a little bit, much less than I thought. And frankly, the gas hasn't gone up as much as I thought. But regardless, even if it did, we have to stop this group of people from having. And again, it was worse.
I mean, the market recovered, but bro, gas, yeah, national average is at $4 now, bro.
Because Khomeini was a total, radical. I'll be nice, maniac. He was a maniac, and you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Right. So I just have.
You know what's so funny about him saying Khomeini's a maniac? Khomeini was the one who put in the religious fatwa saying that they would not have a nuclear weapon. So the maniac is a guy pretty much creating a religious law forbidding the country to have a nuclear weapon. That's our maniac, guys. Okay, bro. Okay.
The greatest economy ever. Everything's going along, and I say, I'm sorry. I tell my economic advisors, I say, I'm sorry, fellas. We're in great shape. We have to go and take a little journey down to Iran, and we have to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. They all said, we agree.
So do you believe the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be, or the same, or maybe a little bit higher, but it should be around the same. I think this won't be that much longer. They're wiped out, man. They're wiped out. And
bro, just ready to accept the L at this point. He's just like, F it, bro. He's like, look, I'm pretty sure when Trump ran into this war, like, come on, bro. You just got to say F gas prices at that point. Like, obviously, Trump cares about this war more than gas prices. He cares more about this war more than the affordability of the American people. Shit, he cares more about this war than providing child care to the American people. And he said this out loud, sadly. So it's just like, we got MAGA. What are we doing? Like I said, like, remember what you voted for, not like, bro, remember what you stand for, not who. Because sadly, y'all just tagging on to Trump just because it's Trump and not for what he stands for. Because this is crazy.
You don't get a fair shake. You don't get, we need a free and fair press in this country. And I don't even know why people would do that. Why would they say how wonderful they're doing militarily? They're doing so well. The country is wiped out. We lost one airplane, and we captured the 2 pilots. How about we saved those 2 pilots?
Unbelievable.
Which no other country has the capability of doing. Usually when that happens, countries wave goodbye. They say, lots of luck, because you're going deep into, and we went 7 hours into, it was a 7-hour flight.
Yes.
To go in and get them. We had one of the roughest areas, one of the most dangerous areas in the world. And we got both of them. It was incredible. But
extraordinary.
We got both of them.
And thank God that for our military, and I know that you rebuilt the military. Now, Mr. President, before you go, it was you who did the maximum campaign against Iran in your first term. Is it going to be back to the Maximum campaign? You deemed them the leading sponsor of terrorism. And I have to ask you about all of these efforts and the impact on China. What you've done in Venezuela, Iran, even your comments about Cuba. Where does that put China as you approach this meeting with Xi Jinping next month?
Sure. Well, in the Maximum campaign, you can't do any more Maximum. We've wiped out their whole country, essentially. The only thing left, really, is their water, which would be very devastating to hit. I would hate to do it. But it's their water, their desalinization plants, their electric generating plants, which are very easy to hit. We could hit them. We could have them all down. And I mean, down like you couldn't have electricity for 10 years because it takes you 10 years to build those plants.
You know what's so tough about this? Let's go over to the oil market real quick, right? Let's get into Brent crude because this is honestly important. This is how like most oil is priced throughout the world, Brent crude. Because the problem with this is that when you go here to, what was it, February 28th, you know, when the war started, what was that? $72. $72, guys. This is what oil was trading at before the war, at $60 to $70. I think the highest point back then was what? $77, and that was last year in June 19th. Oh, and when was that? Oh, the 12-day war. So, yeah, it wasn't even that bad back then. Now we're over here, bro, at an average of 70, and boom, 80, boom, 90. And this is why it being at 90 is not even a good thing, because before this war, it was at 71, basically. Well, let me see it more accurately. Right here. Well, yeah, $72 on the day of the war. This is why it being at 90 and people brag, well, at least not at 100. Motherfucker, we need it at 70. Are you serious? Like, go look at the charts before. That's what we needed at for gas prices to go back to normal, for gas prices to continue to fall. It needs to go back to that 60, 70 region. And if we don't get it back to that, we're going to continuously see high gas prices. I hope you know this. All right.
From scratch. You'd never.
Oh, guys, make sure let's get to 200 likes by double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way, or smash that like button, depending on where you're watching. If you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to send it in the super chat. I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up. All right, guys, let's go. Or you can send in a Venmo to double your support at S.E.T Media 19.
Probably be able to build them again. And the bridges. So that's really the only thing. We still have some more missile manufacturing plants. We know every one of them. We will do that. We still have other things. But when you talk about Maxim, I think, you know, outside of those few things that are remaining, I think I pretty much maxed out. You are very, very violent and vicious. I don't want to have you against me. I'll tell you what you said. I think we pretty much maxed out, other than those few items. Then we still have some plants left. You know, we had another week left to knock out the rest of the plants, but we were knocking them out fast. As far as China is concerned, China can send their ships to us. China can send their ships to Venezuela. We told them, buy from Venezuela. We have a lot of overcapacity. We'd sell them, and we'll probably sell it for even less money. I have a very good relationship.
Oh, guys, and for those people who want to cry, I mean, oh, God, this is like the dumbest argument ever. My man, it was almost $10 a gallon under Biden. You're tripping, bro. Are you retarded, bro? Did you forget what you voted for Donald Trump for in the first place? For lower gas, which is going to translate to lower prices across the board. So it's funny how you can't even hold your side accountable enough to see that you're walking backwards on that, to see that inflation is going up, gas went up by the complete dollar, and you're over here sitting like this is a good thing, like this is what you voted for. Are you dumb? Like, come on now. Like, y'all guys got to have a little bit of like critical thinking here. And I just completely showed you how gas prices will continuously go up if we're staying in this $90 region. And there's a lot of people in the chat who's confused, thinking that $90 region is good.
With President Xi of China, and we work together very well. They're paying us substantial money, as you know. We've never got money before. You know, I listened to this Gordon Chang. He has no idea what he's talking about. We have been very tough on China, tough but fair. And, you know, it's an amazing place. But I have a very good relationship with China, and they've been doing you know, I put tremendous tariffs. I put 100% tariff on all Chinese cars coming in, and that's destroying Europe. They're destroying Europe because they're taking away so much business from Mercedes and BMW, et cetera. And we don't have any Chinese cars in our country because they would have destroyed General Motors, Ford. They would have destroyed these companies if they did it. So I put 100% tariff on, and in all fairness to Biden, he allowed it to stay on, which is shocking to me.
Right.
It's one of the things, about the only thing he did good, but he allowed it to stay. So we don't have the problem that they have. You know, they're having tremendous economic problems in Europe because they're being just swamped with these Chinese cars. We don't have any.
But Mr. President, just to be clear, you said the other day that any country that supports Iran and sends military equipment to Iran will face a 50% tariff if they try
That's
to bring
correct.
products. Did you
That's correct.
refer to China? Did you mean China?
Yes, and other people, but yes,
Yep.
China too.
So China, Japan, Pakistan, all of our allies, he's threatening with a 50% tariff if they go get oil out of Iran. And like I said, so I was right. We weren't going to strike them. We don't really have too much of a way of enforcing it because, bro, India, Pakistan are going to look at, bro, like, screw you. I got people that need this energy, dog, and I don't have the funds to go get it from you. So screw you. You can go ahead and put your 50% on, and I'm going to go get my oil because my people need this oil because we're going through an energy crisis right now. And if you don't know, yes, that's exactly what's going on. And because you're over here sitting pretty in America, don't think that shit ain't getting wild around the world. Check this out.
The world was warned this could happen, and now it actually is. The Philippines just became the first country in the entire world to declare a state of emergency because of fuel shortages linked to the war in the Middle East. This is because a staggering 98% of the fuel that the Philippines imports needs to pass through the Gulf region. And it's not just them. The whole world is now facing its biggest restrictions on fuel since COVID. Slovenia just became the first EU state to begin fuel rationing, so you can now only buy 50 liters max of fuel per day. Meanwhile, the IEA has now advised their 32 member countries, which include the likes of Australia, Germany, Japan, France, and the UK, to implement various fuel-saving measures, including even lowering their highway speeds by 10 kilometers an hour. China have temporarily banned fuel exports to protect their domestic supplies. Australia are facing what's described as a national crisis, where hundreds of their petrol stations are running dry from panic buying and shortages. South Korea have begun considering work-from-home policies and have also introduced price limits for fuel for the first time in decades, along with other countries like Croatia, Hungary, Brazil, and Thailand. Cuba are really struggling this week with numerous countrywide power cuts only made worse by the fuel shortages. Japan will begin their biggest ever release of oil from their strategic reserves this week. And as for the United States, well, Trump was asked about the Strait of Hormuz, and he said this.
We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. We're the #1 producer anywhere in the world times 2.
So you honestly think these countries are going to keep going through this on the fear of fear of a 50% tariff? Yeah, everybody's going to start looking at Trump like, bro, go screw yourself. I got to get this oil, regardless if you're going to put a 50% tariff on me, because it ain't about to be on that oil. I'll tell you that. So yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. This blockade's a bad idea. And all we're doing is honestly putting pressure on our own allies.
Okay.
If we find that China, because I hear news reports, so a news report doesn't mean much to me because they're so fake, but I hear news reports about China giving the shoulder missiles, what's called the shoulder missile, anti-aircraft missile.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. If you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, help me reach the goal of, what are we at? I think we're at like 88 now. So yes, help us reach the goal of 88 in support, and we can go ahead and get that call-in line open. I'll go ahead and post a StreamYard link and have some of you guys up here, either to debate the topic or to tell me where you agree, or you may even disagree more than you agree with me. But all right, but if not, let's make sure we are double tapping that screen.
I doubt they would do that because I have a relationship, and I think they wouldn't do that. But maybe they did a little bit at the beginning, but I don't think they would anymore. No. But if we catch them doing that, they get a 50% tariff, which is that's a staggering amount.
And did you want to say anything about our NATO allies in terms of what comes next for them, given that, I mean, is it time for them to call Iran the leading state sponsor of terrorism? And what are you going to do because they did not help in this effort?
Like, Mark, come on, Mark. You're smarter than that. You're smarter than that. No, I'm not happy. Bro, that's what BRICS is doing to pretty much try to de-dollarize. So no, I'm just reporting and telling you guys what's going on. Because you don't like what you're hearing, you're framing that as me being happy or me supporting Iran, when I'm literally just telling you what's going on. but for some reason, people want to be in an echo chamber. I mean, Mark, I ain't gonna lie, you're kind of the best example of that. If you're not hearing what you want to hear, bro, you're just out here crashing out.
Well, NATO is shameful. I mean, I didn't go wild at it. We didn't need any help. I would actually say, you know, if you want to help, great. If you don't want to help, that's okay. And they say, oh, well, you know, would rather.
See, and that's what's so funny. And that's the funniest part. You don't understand. Donald Trump won this. How? How? Please tell me. The Strait of Hormuz is still being controlled by Iran, even if America got a blockade on it. We don't really got a real threat on the blockade. We're not going to start blowing ships out the water. What? China's going to go ahead and get their oil. Like what? Pakistan's going to go ahead and get their oil.